Up to 90% of people with epilepsy in developing countries receive no treatment at all. Over 800,000 people in Kenya suffer from epilepsy. Fewer than 20% have been identified, diagnosed and treated.
I have lived with epilepsy that was diagnosed in 2012, but I started suffering from it in 2008. I didn't have any information about epilepsy at the time when I was told I am suffering from it. And I had to go through the internet to look for more information about it. It was hard to accept that I have epilepsy, but I had to see a psychologist for like 3 months, and that is how I came into terms with the condition.
I learned my epilepsy condition 17 years ago, and this is when I had my first attack in class, and my teacher who was in school that day introduced me to Kenya Association Welfare of People with Epilepsy, and I started taking my treatment.
My son, Joseph Mathenge, was diagnosed with epilepsy when he was 14 years. That was in the year 2006. He was in class 8. And seizures has not been controlled up to today. And now it's going to 8 years after he was diagnosed with epilepsy. The first thing that happened is that he lost his friends, and when he tries to make new friends, he loses them as soon as they realize that he has the condition.
This service will be beneficial to the patient suffering from this disease and to the caregivers who take care of them.
Nachunga mtoto wangu ni kijana, ako na miaka 7. Sikukuwa na information yoyote, lakini wakati nilikuwa kwa hospitali nilikuwa naambiwa atapona, akifikisha miaka 6 atapona, hiyo ni pneumonia. Wakati sasa nilichukua hatua kwenda hiyo clinic, nikaambiwa hiyo ni epilepsy.
I wouldn't say like I knew about it the way I do today. I only used to hear it, there is epilepsy. But it wasn't clear to me what the cause is or what it really is. I had no awareness, I would say that.
The first time I was told I have epilepsy, I must say I was really scared. I did not know how to deal with the condition. I wasn't sure if there's medication to control it or to cure it.
In Kenya now, for every 100 people, there is one person with epilepsy. That translates to around 800,000 to 1 million people with epilepsy. The sad thing about that, it is only 20% of these people are getting medication or are being managed for epilepsy. The service is called Fafanuka. You have to have, of course, a handset with a Safaricom SIM card. Dial *215#. You will get the *215# and register. You get information about epilepsy, starting from first aid in epilepsy. It has the facts about epilepsy. It also tells the myths about epilepsy. And the caregivers and the patients themselves, they'll be able to know. They can be able to look at Fafanuka and get the facts about epilepsy. They can also be able to get to know where to go for treatment anywhere in Kenya.
The new awareness campaign by Safaricom called Fafanuka is going to help patients, caregivers, and medical personnel in getting information about epilepsy, especially facts about epilepsy will be now clear to most people who only believe that it's caused by witchcraft. Others do not know the first aid measures that need to be taken. And it will also help patients know where they can get help, like where they can get epilepsy clinics in the country.
Hii huduma ya Safaricom inatusaidia sana kwa sababu ukituma hiyo *215# hakuna malipo unalipa, and then ukiletewa hizo information zote kama ujui unasaidika.
With the Safaricom program, I think it has come at the right time because it's going to make us it's going to make it easy for us who are living with such people, and even for those who have the condition, because they'll be well understood in the society and they'll be able to get the right assistance, especially if they get an attack out there.
Safaricom products have helped me to learn more about the triggers of epilepsy, because you find out many people with epilepsy, they don't understand the triggers. So for me, I've learned a lot about the triggers, the causes, the first aid that a person with epilepsy should get, and also the treatment, the effective treatment, which is very efficient for seizure control.
I think there's still a lot of lack of understanding by, I would say, people in general and even families. You know, hardly do you find a family that maybe they do understand, especially in the countryside. And that is where I still feel people still need to be sensitized to understand that it is just like any other disease, and therefore people should not be discriminated. My message to the people suffering with epilepsy is that Safaricom is part of you, and I do hope that the government, your families, will accept you the way you are, and to know that you are not suffering from a witchcraft or any other thing, but just like any other disease.
I would like to say that epilepsy is just a condition, and it's something that anybody can live comfortably with. But the best thing is to take drugs and follow doctor's prescription and live a very normal life.
I would tell the people that they should take advantage, because apart from now Safaricom that has taken up the matter, I think for us with the children and brothers and sisters with epilepsy, living with epilepsy, we've been abandoned, and other people, organizations and individuals should join Safaricom.
People living with epilepsy face a lot of stigma in our society. People believe it's witchcraft, others tend to think it's contagious, but this is not the case. We need to accept them into our society. We need to make them feel that it's something that can be controlled, they can live a normal life. And that is part of what I mostly do during epilepsy awareness campaigns, trying to demystify the condition.
Fafanuka. Stop the stigma associated with epilepsy. Just like any other health condition, epilepsy is treatable and manageable. Please visit the hospital for treatment or dial *215# to get started with tips to manage it now.